News Radio 840 WHAS. Coming up on today's Louisville Real Estate Show, is it too late to protect your parents? How to ask about power of attorney questions without starting a family fight. Discover the simple steps that make this tough conversation easier than you think. Mice, stink bugs, and snakes. True stories and how to keep creepy crawlers out of your home this winter. You won't believe what slithered into my house. Plus some expert tips to keep your home pest-free. And don't let mice take over this winter. We've got some genius tricks that actually work. Will stop teeny invaders before they ruin your cozy season. Hi, everybody. Bob Sokoler, owner of the Sokoler team at RE/MAX Properties. Thank you for joining us this Sunday. We got a packed show, as you can tell. Lots of stuff. Let's get right to it. But first, we introduce the folks who are going to be with us to help answer these questions. Chuck Crosby is the owner of the Crosby Law Office. They do a fabulous job of real estate closings. Also, they do wills, living wills, healthcare, surrogates, help with powers of attorney, and the list goes on. To get a hold of Chuck, and you can always rely on his advice. 499-6360. Also here, Brad Lawler, owner of Home Team Inspection Service and Team Bug Out. They come in as a team. They inspect your home and the home you're going to buy or the home that you own in prep for selling. And with Team Bug Out, they do get rid of a lot of critters, which is why we've got questions for him about mice and a variety of other things. You can reach Brad at 844-411-TEAM. And if you're thinking you're selling your home now, in the future, next year, whatever, I'm here. I'd love to help you. It's free, no obligation analysis is what I'm telling you. Call me anytime. I'll answer my phone. We'll set up a time. We can talk on the phone. We can do a Zoom call. Or come out. I really will. Come out. We'll talk as long as you want and come up with a plan if you want. Again, free, no obligation. And then if you decide to list, we go from there. You can reach me on my cell phone, 376-5483. That's 376-LIVE. Or go to bobsellslouisville.com and click out the form, hit submit. And for a free, no obligation analysis of what your home is worth, go to WeSellLouisville.com, click on the top of the page, and fill out the info, and you'll get an instant analysis from our automated intelligent computer, an AI, or as Apple says, Apple Intelligence. That's our little take on it. So, all right, let's start with Chuck Crosby at the Crosby Law Office. Chuck, Laura wrote us an email. Her brother has got the start of dementia. She needs a power of attorney for her brother. Can she get it? She asks in the email. How much does it cost? And how does she get started? Chuck?
Okay. Well, can it still be done if a doctor has diagnosed dementia, someone is incompetent? I'm not a medical doctor, so I don't know the varying degrees of dementia. But if a doctor has diagnosed dementia, then you're going to want to see a letter from that doctor saying that the person is competent and able to understand these things. And then you can go ahead and get the power of attorney. If the doctor is not willing to write that letter, if our person has been diagnosed and is incompetent, no, it's pretty much over. There's things you can do at that point. Okay, you can actually apply to become a guardian for a person who's incompetent. It takes roughly 3 months to get that all squared away. But once that's squared away, there's a lot of things you can do to help. Now, the law says that a person is presumed to be competent unless adjudicated otherwise. It can be a little dicey if you've got the diagnosis, but not quite there yet. So you have to rely on medical professionals at that point.
So Chuck, let me jump in here. So Laura brings her brother to, say, you or any attorney.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And do you talk with him to see if he's competent and then make a decision on your own? Or do you just do it and then if you see something, you stop the proceedings?
Well, there's not really anything that I can see. I'm not a medical professional.
Right.
Okay. I can't decide whether someone's competent or not. What I do know is that the law presumes that a person is competent unless adjudicated otherwise. I can look real quick to see if someone's been adjudicated otherwise. That's easy. If a person's been diagnosed, that's when I step back and say, hey guys, wait a minute. We need a letter from a doctor, someone who can determine whether a person's competent or not, to state whether they are or not. And we've had that scenario a few times. I'm just not in a position to be able to determine that myself.
So then two things, folks, to take away from this conversation, I think, with Chuck and myself. First of all, if your parents are getting on in years and you think that there may be a possibility of them forgetting, you can approach them, and this is the key. You can say, "Hey, I was listening to this radio show, and they were talking about this, and we need to have a discussion. Maybe we go in and have a power of attorney done." And by the way, if they've gotten to the point where there's dementia, as you've just heard, Chuck, it's already too late. You've got a problem on your hands, so don't wait till that point, right?
Right. If you need it, it's too late to get it, is how I like to put that. But like I said, usually when I've run into that scenario, it's a person has a condition that's treated by drugs, medications, and once on medications are quite competent. When they go off the meds, then you start having the wishy-washy gray area, okay? And that's when you get the doctor to say, hey, the person, is not competent when they're not on their meds, or the person has gotten back onto meds and is now competent. I've seen that done a lot. Typically, I always say if you think you might be going in to check that kind of thing out and you are fully competent, you understand what's going on, just get it done early. Like I said, if you need it, it's too late.
Yeah, and that's why I brought this up in this conversation. And folks, you can use this radio show as a reason for bringing the topic up, and you can listen and have your loved one, your parents, mom or dad, listen to the show. Go to LouisvilleAnswers.com, and you'll hear this show and see it right there. So that'll give you a reason and some help in broaching this conversation with mom or dad, because I know it is a difficult conversation.
It can be when mom and dad. It's like comparable to the point at which you say, "Hey, maybe I should be taking your keys, not letting you drive," that kind of thing. They always think it's like that, but it's really not. It is having a durable power of attorney lets them do all kinds of things for you. You're out on vacation, you need to sell that house, you can't be there for the closing. A durable power of attorney steps right in. You want kids to take care of your tax returns? Well, there you go. It really is a good thing to have. And once you get the dreaded diagnosis, or age takes over, it's already in place.
Yeah. All right. We'll give Chuck's number out if you want to get in contact with him to get some help on this as well in just a few minutes. We go over to Brad Lawler, a home team inspection service. A couple of weeks ago, Brad, we talked about mice. We've talked about stink bugs. Now snakes. Yeah. Last week, I didn't find a mouse. I did find a stink bug outside, but then in the garage, a small snake. Mm-hmm. I went to grab a shovel, but my wife, LaDonna, who I now call the snake whisperer, grabbed a nearby broom and swept the snake. Yeah. She's afraid of nothing. Yeah. She swept the snake into the field out back. Small snake. Okay, yes. But I went on ChatGPT and I looked it up, and it says a mother snake can have between 20 and 100 babies. So now, what's a good defense for all of us if we see a snake, a small whatever, in our yards? How do we protect the house?
Okay, so a couple things. One, snakes are beneficial. So I know nobody wants them in their houses. They don't want them in their garage. You don't want to be surprised. But snakes are doing the job. And I think we're talking about rodent control here in a few minutes, it sounds like. Yeah. But snakes are around when there's mice around. Okay. So oftentimes when we're dealing with snakes in clients' homes, they have a mouse problem. Okay. There are some things. There are some great natural products that you can use to kind of keep snakes away. There's a product called Snake Away. It smells, as my technicians would tell you, it's more like Dragon Away. It's got a terrible smell, but it's all natural. The snakes don't like the smell of it because it messes with the Jacobson's organ that they use to kind of find their food. So if you put that around your house, it'll keep it away. We use a more professional grade product called Scram, kind of the same type of thing. So, but yeah, I'm not a big fan of killing the snakes. Almost all the snakes that you're going to run into, in your garden are, little king snakes, or they're little garter snakes. I had a call a few Saturdays ago. I had to go get a snake out of some pool deck furniture. So they're still out there. They're a nuisance, but you can use some of those commercially available products. Just sprinkle them around your house, and it will keep the snakes out of your garages, out from under your doormats and some of the other areas where they hang out. But again, most importantly, they're coming looking for a food source. So it's probably an indication that you might have some mice hanging out.
Yeah, maybe. Just FYI, my mom, before she passed away, she used to fear snakes, and she would put mothballs in the garage. That works as well?
Naphthalene is actually one of the main components in Snake Away. When you look at the list, it's essential oils and naphthalene. So mothballs, they work too. They're just not quite as they're just a little bit harder to place than some of the granules. But mothballs work great.
And that smell from the mothballs, folks, let me
It's
just tell you,
rough.
and it gets into your car. If you park
Yes,
your
it does.
car.
Yep.
And I went to borrow my dad's car one day, and it was, I had to have the windows down because the mothball smell was so bad. All right. A reminder, if you'd like to see what folks are saying about our Sokoler team, we love our reviews and we love our clients. You can go to LouisvilleZillow.com or LouisvilleGoogle.com and read some of our reviews. Chuck Crosby Law Office. Theo recently purchased a home in Oldham County. In the email he wrote us, he says his family moved into the house the same day as the closing. They found a couple of items were left behind, but they decided not to make a big deal out of it. He says the same night, the seller's brother and son were knocking on their door. This was 10 p.m. at night, asking to retrieve the items left behind. Theo said no. He said those items now belong to him, Theo, and so does the former owner have any claim to these items that were left behind? Chuck Crosby.
Does he have any claim? Yeah. But this goes to the whole, you buried money in the backyard and you forgot about it. There's actually some cases about that where you get to keep it. Now, I'm guessing that the way it'll roll out is it'll be more trouble than it's worth to just give it back. I mean, what are we talking about? A Jaguar car, something like that. I don't know that you could claim because it's separately titled. Was it a chair that they liked? Possibly. Closed, you left it there. But it's going to be more trouble than worth to try and keep it, unless you found that bag of gold in the backyard.
The bag of gold that keeps on giving. Yeah.
Well, right. I keep thinking here. People do leave things. They hide stuff. For instance, Melignato. Remember what he left?
Yes.
Yeah, in the vents that were found later after acquittal. But that's just be nice.
Yeah. All right. Well, we're going to move on, and a reminder that you can see and hear it. Yeah, really, see and hear it. LouisvilleAnswers.com, LouisvilleAnswers.com. And if you want to see what sellers are actually saying about us at the closing table, go to LouisvilleSellersTalk.com, LouisvilleSellersTalk.com. When we come back, we're going to help you stop mice in their tracks and prevent a home infestation this winter with help from Brad Lawler. Speaking of Brad is one of the folks on the show today. He's owner of Home Team Inspection Service and Team Bug Out. They do a great job of inspecting your home. He's the #1 Home Team Inspection Service 10 years in a row, right? And we're hoping in the country and hoping to make that number 11. You can reach Brad 844-411-TEAM. Also, great guy, does a job and then some. Chuck Crosby Law Office. Not only does he do a phenomenal job at real estate closings, but he does wills, and that's so important. Living wills, healthcare, surrogates, powers of attorney, as we talked about earlier, specific powers of attorney, durable powers of attorney. You can reach Chuck to get a hold of him at 499-6360. And if you're thinking of selling your home now or in the future, I'd love to help you. It's free, no obligation for me to come out to talk to you, to give you an idea of what the path would be to get your home on the market. All you need to do is pick up the phone and give me a call. 376-5483. As I say, no home too big, no home too small. I work in Louisville, surrounding counties, and southern Indiana. Call me at 376-LIVE or go to bobsaleslouisville.com and fill out the form and hit submit. Back in a moment on News Radio 840 WHAS. News Radio 840 WHAS, Bob Sokoler, Louisville Real Estate Show here with you till the top of the hour. Thank you, Barbara Corcoran, who's a mentor, and she, if you haven't seen her, she does Shark Tank, and she endorses us, and I always want to give a shout out to Barbara, who does a great job on Shark Tank. Staying with us, we've got Chuck Crosby, owner of the Crosby Law Offices. They do real estate closings and wills, also a variety of other things that help you get your home sold. Also commissioner sales and foreclosure defense. You can reach Chuck at 499-6360. Also, staying with us, Brad Lawler, owner of Home Team Inspection Service and Team Bug Out. They come in as a team to get the job done and do a great job at that. 844-411-TEAM. If you're thinking of selling your home, I would love to help you. If you're thinking of buying, I've got agents who will help you as well, 10 agents. You can reach me, no home too big, no home too small, 376-5483 for a free, no obligation analysis. I'll help you, talk to you as long as you want, and get you the path to getting your home on the market and sold. That's 376-LIVE, or go to bobsellslouisville.com. All right, we've talked about mice in the past, but we had a call, well, an email in this case, from one of our listeners who said, well, wait, you talk about mice, but how do we prevent them from getting into our home? So let's start, Brad, with your expertise. You want to pick up everything the first signs of a mouse, things that they would be attracted to, correct?
Yeah. So I think the easiest way to remember, I know it's silly, but it's just remember, fess up. So you're looking for their food sources, you're looking for their entry points, you're looking for the areas where they shelter, and then sanitation is really important, because a lot of times people don't notice the mouse nest because they're not cleaning. So if you're in the back of a storage room, or you're in a shed, a lot of times the mice are hanging out there. Food is a big thing right now. Mice get into pet food. A lot of pet food, we see them in birdseed containers, a lot in garages or wherever it's stored. You'll find gnaw marks where they've chewed their way in. Entry points, you're looking for all those little spaces around the house. They flatten themselves out so they can get down under very small cracks, like underneath a garage door, weather stripping around doors themselves. And then the other areas which you really need to think about are those areas where they can get in from outside. So shrubs that are up against the house, or trees that are overhanging a gutter, they'll climb up and come in that way. My friends that do gutter works, talk about the number of mouse holes that are chewed into the fascia boards where they're coming up into the attics very easily. So yeah, just again, just remember those are the areas you're looking at. If you take care of those areas, you're really not going to have a problem with them inside. But you got to start outside and then work your way in, because that's what the mice are trying to do too.
Yeah, so fill up the holes also that are outside by using, I guess, stuff like expanding foam or copper.
Yeah, don't use expanding foam.
Oh.
They come through that. Not a big fan. Yeah, the copper. We use a material called excluder. Scotch-Brite pads will work because they don't rust and they don't chew through that. But there's a lot of different products that you can stuff around those holes. But the expanding foam isn't really that much of a barrier for them.
Okay, how about door draft stoppers? The thing you put at the bottom of drawer.
Yeah, those are good. Rather they replace the weather stripping on the bottom of the door if they can. But if it's not possible, the draft dodger type thing is probably going to help too. You're just trying to seal up that gap, that crack.
Then for mouse traps, you've got quick kill, you got electronic, you got catch and release type traps. But the key takeaway from a couple of weeks ago: don't touch them with your hands. Use some sort of glove.
Right. Don't touch the traps because they will smell human on it. And mice are already, as we talked about, neophobic. They don't like new things in their environment. They will avoid them. So.
Okay, and finally, selfish plug for Brad, the last resort, professional pest control like Team Bug Out, which will get the job done. One thing in my research and doing for this, after I got the email, I ran across something, and Chuck, you may be shocked at this as I was, and tell me this is not true, Brad, because I'm going to shock a lot of people. Can rats, maybe, or mice, come up the toilets? Come from... I did a research, and they say it can happen.
I've heard it. I don't know how they would do it, Bob, because I don't know how they would. That's a long walk through a sewer drain pipe in order to be able to come up that way, because that's the only way for them to get in, and that's a lot of uphill climbing and smooth pipes. Now, maybe if you're in an old building that has Orangeburg pipe, where it's easier for them to get a toe hold in and climb up. New York City, I'm sure there's probably a lot more common there than it would be in Louisville, Kentucky area.
Okay, I'm glad to hear you say it's difficult, especially in our area, because that scares me quite a bit. Hey, we have a free booklet. Well, it's free and it's no obligation, with hundreds of tips on how to sell your home, get it ready, things like that. You can send me an email, bob@wesellouisville.com. Put in selling tips in the subject line, send it to me, and I'll send it back to you. And the booklet has a link. And then on the same level, Brad and Home Team put together a booklet on what to expect with a home inspection. Do the same thing, bob@wesellouisville.com, and then put in an inspection prep, something that has the word inspection in it, and I'll send that out to you as well. Send me that email. All right, we move on. Chuck Crosby Law Office, Avery, moving out of Louisville to accept a new job in Little Rock, Arkansas. Avery, we are going to be sad to see you go. In this email, he says he's got an agent looking for a home for him in Little Rock. And he says he's going to end up buying it sight unseen except for a video walkthrough. He's wondering, is there anything he should put in the buying contract to protect his investment if he gets there and he finds that the home is in worse condition than he saw it in the video walkthrough? Now, I know, Chuck, you're not licensed in Arkansas, so let's just rearrange the wording here and says, let's say Avery's buying a home here in Louisville. What should the agent or Avery working with the agent put in the contract? Is there anything to protect him from something that's sight unseen?
Okay.
And I see Brad raising a hand.
Brad, go ahead, Brad. What's your take on that?
So hire a home inspector.
Hire a
home inspector. Because here's what happens in these situations, and we do this all the time. Hire a home inspector who can do a video walkthrough with you. Okay, we do these teleconferences, these video conferences a lot for people who say they're living in Texas and they're moving to Louisville. But the best way to do it is to go ahead, hire a competent home inspector, one that you've seen their report, they come recommended from the local agent, and that has the capability to do that walkthrough. That way you have the advantage of being able to look at the house, get the home inspector's report, because it's, I'm sure the agent is trying to represent them well, but then you can ask those questions. And then when he does get into town and closes on the deal, then he can oftentimes, we'll go back through the house with the new buyer, because sometimes they don't know how systems work. And, it's not uncommon for us to be asked by a buyer who does come in town, hey, can you walk me through the house? The home inspector should be happy to do that when they get in town. But I think I'm just going to do this shameless plug for the home inspectors wherever they are in the country. They're a big part of a relocation from another state or another area.
And that's the key here, doing your due diligence. How do I put a clause in a contract that says, hey, if I didn't do my due diligence, you're responsible? I'm not a fan of that. And if I represented the sellers, I'd say, don't you dare sign anything like that. But if you can, do the walkthrough and hire someone, a professional that can walk you through with it.
I'd go one more step further. I think the information Brad gave you was great, Chuck, as well. I'd go one step further. If you can't get to the house before you purchase it, at the time that the agent is taking pictures inside and or with the home inspector, have the agent take pictures on the outside, not only of the house and the side of the houses on the either side and the back, but scan the neighborhood. So stand on the front porch or right in the front door and have the agent take pictures of what you'll see if you look out your front door. Because the last thing you want to see is what a former client of mine who bought a house like this never had the agent do this. And when she got there, she was flabbergasted, because it was right across the street from a convenience store. And no one ever said it was across the street. So that's why I'm saying if you have the agent stand in the site where the door is looking out and then take pictures so you know what you're going to see. In fact, that would be a good idea from the back as well and from the sides, so you have a good idea.
That's a good point. It's the whole reason that photographic evidence is so difficult, is because, I can take a picture of this beautiful landscape in front of me, but what about the garbage dump behind me?
And don't forget, we've got a lot of other technology tools like Google Earth and Google Maps at our fingertips that allow you to see some of those aerial views, sometimes right down to the street level. May not be from this season, it may be a few months ago, but that's another good way. Hopefully, Bob, that would also, the question goes back to, how do you as a local agent here connect them with a competent agent in the city where they're moving to? We all have networks, right? And so hopefully you'd also be able to help guide them to a great agent in the market where they're moving to.
And that's a really good point. And I belong to a number of networks, and I see a lot of agents. In fact, we're working with an inbound buyer now that's looking for a home in Louisville that came through another agent in another city, and that happens all the time. And we go back out the other way. And the people we work with, we believe, are the best in the country in the business. So you're at least assured that you're going to have a reputable person. And one final thing, because we're almost out of time here, but you brought up a really good point. You guys are going to love this. So I do a lot of videos on real estate that's on YouTube and a variety of places as well. I had a client who he came to me because of my videos. And so he was moving out, I think it was Seattle, and he did the same thing looking for an agent in Seattle. And he goes out there to buy a home because I'm selling his home here. He goes out there to buy a home, and he comes back and he says, it wasn't so good. And I said, well, what do you mean? He said, well, on video that this agent seemed like he knew everything and he was spontaneous and he was upbeat and energetic. He said, when I got out there, he was a dud. He said, I will never work with the guy. So BOIs, both buyers and sellers, there's one thing being up and happy in videos, but when it comes to the real thing, you really need to meet the person in person and make sure you're happy with that person. It goes without saying, I think. And reviews also help as well for other people. So. Oh, this show went way too fast. Way too fast. All right, so my thanks to Brad Lawler, owner of Home Team Inspection Service and Team Bug Out. They do a great job both for getting homes, both new and resales, inspected, as well as getting rid of pests in your home. You can reach Brad at 844-411-TEAM. Also, Chuck Crosby. His advice is invaluable, and he does a great job as a real estate closing attorney, doing wills, living wills, and a variety of other things. And you can reach Chuck at 499-6360. And for me, if you are thinking of selling, folks, I'd love it. It's free. It's no obligation. I love what I do. And I really am, in person, I'm the same way I am in the videos. I'm upbeat because I love what I do. So you can reach me anytime. No home too big, no home too small. I work in Louisville, Southern Indiana, and surrounding counties. 376-5483. That's 376-LIVE. Or go to bobsellslouisville.com and then just put the information, hit submit. And for a free no obligation analysis of what your home is worth, easy enough, go to WeSellLouisville.com, click on the top of the page. Coming up next week on our show, in preparation for Halloween, a fascinating 20 superstitious things that folks refuse to keep in their house and what it's all tied into. It's interesting. I've already done the research. All right, we're out of time. See you next Sunday. News Radio 840 WHAS.